G'day guys, Jake from DiscoverAuto here, and today we're at the launch of the Mazda CX-60. It's a new premium SUV that sits above the CX-5 in Mazda's lineup, and it introduces a lot of new technology to the brand. It's got a new rear-biased all-wheel drive platform, new mild hybrid petrol and diesel engines, and even the brand's first plug-in hybrid drivetrain. Predictably, that pushes Mazda into new pricing territory. If you go for an entry-level CX-60, pricing starts from just under $60,000 plus on-road costs. And if you choose a top-spec Azami plug-in hybrid, you're looking at about $95,000 before it drives out of the showroom. That pushes Mazda into some premium territory, and rivals such as the Volvo XC60, BMW X3 and Audi Q5 offer pretty similar pricing. So, what makes you want to choose the Mazda? Well, let's jump in and start finding out with this DiscoverAuto quick review.
The cabin of the Mazda CX-60 is a pretty nice place to spend time, and it's certainly a big upgrade for the Mazda brand, and Mazda makes some pretty good cabins already. The materials on offer are pretty nice. The integration of the tech, like the center screen and the driver's display, are really nice as well, and it's also really comfortable. In terms of material quality, the Mazda doesn't quite hit the highs of something like an X3 or an Audi Q5, but it does a really good job. For example, the leather steering wheel here is absolutely lovely to hold. If you get this Azami SP model, you get this lovely suede Alcantara trim on the dashboard, and I'm a big sucker for tan interiors as well. The plastics used are nice and soft touch. They've got a nice bit of depth to them. And the only thing that kind of lets the side down a little bit is kind of the plastics that are on offer down here. You know, you could have something like piano black, which would make it a bit richer to look at. It's also really comfortable. The seats themselves are covered in lovely Napa leather upholstery. I would like a little bit more side bolstering, but otherwise they offer all-day comfort. In terms of in-car technology, depending on which model you go for, you get a large 12.3-inch screen, as well as a 12.3-inch screen for the driver. The quality is really, really nice. The colors used are pretty good too. And overall, it's a pretty easy to understand system. It has a lovely 12-speaker Bose sound system if you go for this top-spec Azami or the mid-spec GT, which sounds really, really good. And the driver's display is also really high quality. It looks really good. There's a nice big driver's head-up display as well. The only thing I would like to see would be something like a map in front of the driver. It's also a pretty practical cabin. You get these nice cup holders up here. There's a wireless phone charger down there, and a pretty big center bin down here as well. The glove box is a nice size, and there's even a little hidey hole to the right of the driver. Jump into the back seat of the CX-60 with me, and you'll find that it's a very nicely trimmed place, and it offers reasonable room. The legroom is not amazing, I have to say. There's only that much between my 6-foot self and my driving position, but headroom is pretty good despite the first panoramic sunroof in a Mazda product. It's also got some nice features like big door bins. You get soft touch materials on tops of the doors. You also get heated outboard seats, 2 USB-C ports, and even a household outlet, so you can charge things like a laptop. The boot of the Mazda CX-60 is a pretty good size at 477 litres, though it is a bit smaller than something like a BMW X3. On the plus side, it is really nicely finished. There's a space saver spare wheel if you get the petrol or the diesel variants. There's a little bit of side storage, a 12-volt socket over there, and if you want to fold the seats down, which you can do using these prongs, you get over 1,700 litres of space, which is pretty good for a car of this size. Now, let's talk about the behind-the-wheel experience of the Mazda CX-60. Now, you get 3 choices of drivetrain. There is a mild hybrid 3.3 litre petrol engine, a mild hybrid 3.3 litre diesel engine. Both of those are 6 cylinders, which is pretty rare in this segment. And you also get the choice of a 2.5 litre plug-in hybrid drivetrain that offers up to 76 kilometres of claimed electric range. Now, we've driven all 3 on the launch, and while we would be very compelled to buy the diesel because it offers a claimed consumption of just 4.9 litres per 100 kilometres on the combined cycle, the 209 kilowatt 3.3 litre petrol engine, which has a turbocharger, is definitely the pick of the range because it sounds really good. It offers reasonable fuel consumption, and it's also pretty quick as well. If those power figures sound impressive, they are in this segment, because if you go for something like a base model Audi Q5, for example, you only get 120 kilowatts of power, and I'm sure that's more than fine in the Q5, but it does give the CX-60 a nice point of difference. Now, dynamically, the CX-60 is generally pretty impressive, but it depends on which model you go for. If you go for the inline-6 petrol engine, you get the best dynamic package by far because it weighs the least and it actually feels like you're driving a CX-5, which, as we know, is a very accomplished mid-size SUV. Both the diesel and the plug-in hybrid weigh more. The plug-in hybrid tops at about 2 tons, which is definitely not a light car, and it feels it. You know, you feel the weight through the ride quality, which is worse than in the petrol engine, and it's probably why we would say just stick with the petrol engine. The diesel offers really good efficiency. The claim is 4.9 litres per 100 kilometres, and we've been getting pretty close to that on this launch too. As you'd expect for a car costing this much, the cabin experience of the CX-60 is pretty hushed. Now that used to be a big Mazda problem, but they've really worked on it, and the whole Mazda range is much quieter than it used to be. Regardless of which CX-60 you buy, the steering feels really nice and linear, it offers a reasonable amount of feel, and the chassis is pretty good as well. It's very balanced and the handling is really good. You can really feel the rear wheels kicking in the rear biased all-wheel drive system, and overall I think it's a pretty nice car to drive, but we definitely say if you're a keen driver, buy the petrol because it weighs the least and it's also a really nice engine. Overall, I think Mazda has made a pretty good product with the CX-60. It offers a polished range of drivetrains, the cabin is really nice and homely feeling, and I also think it's pretty good value for money as well. Yes, it's not cheap, but at the base model, you get a 6-cylinder engine, when in something like a Volvo XC60, you can't get a 6-cylinder engine at all. It remains to be seen if the market will agree, and 95 grand for a top spec Mazda is quite a lot to swallow. But we'll see how the sales go with the CX-60. For now, please like and subscribe to the DiscoverAuto channel. This is our first review, and we're planning on making quite a lot more. Thanks for watching.